We're wired for adventure, and if we don't have one, we start blowing things like problems out of proportion so that we feel like we have an adventure. We feel like we're like overcoming something, and a lot of times it's a negative thing. Welcome to the Savage Servant Podcast. My name is Jason.
My name is Nick.
Today we're going to go over the importance of adventure.
Like Indiana Jones.
You know what? There's a reason every young boy likes that movie.
I love those.
I still haven't seen them.
What?
You're old.
You've never seen Indiana Jones?
No.
Any of them?
No.
Dude, Shia LaBeouf was in one a few years back. You never seen that most recent one?
No, because so here's the thing, is if I haven't seen the first movie of something, I don't want to see like the last one.
I don't know if I want to look at you anymore today.
That's okay. You can look at the camera.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I try not to look at you anyways.
Hate your face.
So, the importance of adventure in a man's life. We were talking about this a little bit, and me and my family started to do some interesting things, so I thought we should bring this up. Men are wired for it, like we are, to like do things, new things, fun things, like dangerous things.
Yeah.
So it brings me to a quote from John Eldridge's book, Wild at Heart. And it's, deep in his heart, every man longs for a battle to fight, an adventure to live, and a beauty to rescue. Now, we can go through the other things another time. Beauty to rescue, very obvious, right? Battle to fight, I think, comes into our fight for humanity, our fight to bring people from Satan and his world and bring them to God. I think that that's a huge piece of it. But an adventure to live, God's made us to adventure, to explore, to understand his world and do things that are exciting and make memories and all those things. And I think our family looks to us for those things too. It just is such an important thing for us. And one of the things that I realized recently is how easy it is for us to get stuck in ruts.
Oh yeah.
Or you're just doing the same things. And this is in our relationships with our wives, in our relationships with our family, and then just in our own lives. And how less alive I feel when I'm doing the same things all the time. Like, discipline is one thing. Definitely important. Definitely you have to be able to keep those habits, do those healthy things.
Yeah.
But when it comes to every date night, you're doing the same. You're going to one of 3 restaurants, or you're seeing a movie, or the basic things that you've done every date night for the last 2 years. Like, those are the things that kill romance and relationships and lead you to stray and do things negatively. I think that if we don't have the excitement in our lives from doing adventurous things, that it's very easy for strongholds to take place.
Oh yeah, I believe you have to have adventure and intimacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, so that's I think is part of it, right? Like doing different things and having fun with your wife and those things. So we started doing the Adventure Challenge books. Have you seen those?
No.
So they used to be all over social media. I don't know where we found them originally, but there's a couples one. I think there's a friends one. I haven't ever seen that one, but there's a family one too.
No.
So basically, it's this book. It has all these different things you can do, like just random stuff that's fun, like a fun outing or a fun date night, an idea for anything like that. And so each one is covered in like the tin foil stuff that's on like a scratcher. Yeah. And it gives a description of what it is, or the basics, like what time of day you should do this, how long it'll take, what kind of financial investment it will take. And the family one's a little more specific, like it's like, oh, you should do this in the summer, you should do this in the winter. But you scratch it off, you have to do it. If you scratch it off, like you're committed. That's what you're doing. even if it sounds like it's going to suck. You go do it.
Was it like kayaking or?
So yesterday, we scratched off one. Bella picked it, and it was you took a inflatable out to the nearest body of water. So we took it out to Folsom Lake. Bought like an inflatable all of us could sit on, and took snacks. And then there's like a list of questions to ask, like while you're sitting floating around. But it was like questions like she asked us questions like, if like when you were my age, like what was your favorite food, what was your favorite things to do, like all these different things about being her age. And then for us it was like, if you were the parent, what would you do for this? If you were an adult, what would you do with $100? Like child specific, parent specific questions. And then we ended up just asking each other questions for hours out in the middle of Folsom Lake. It was super cool.
This actually sounds fun.
No, it was a lot of fun, but it's stuff that like I think we're so inundated with everything, we don't use our creativity a lot as humans, like not just men, like humans in general. We have so much crap that we're supposed to do, and a lot of times we put all of that effort, all the effort that we have, all our creative effort into work and those things, that we don't think of those things in our personal and in our regular relationships, like in our personal time with just yourself, like to do fun things by yourself and do fun things with your family and with your significant other. And those are like the memories that you're gonna have. And I remember when I was a kid, I had just did the most stupid things with my friends. Like we came up with, like there's nothing we were never bored, because when we got bored, it immediately was like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna do something stupid. But we didn't have phones.
Yeah.
And when we finally did have phones, they were like flip phones. Like it wasn't we're not showing each other YouTube videos.
No. He had like a razor.
So it bums me out that my daughter doesn't get that.
Yeah.
But I think it puts it on me, it puts it on us to come up with stuff and put the phones away and do something that she'll remember. Because I guarantee she's going to remember that day. Like, I loved it. There's no way that she's not going to remember that. You know what I mean? That's just one of them. Me and my wife, we've done, like, one day you build like a fort in the living room. And then, like the little warmers, the hot plate warmers, like at events, you use that, and made s'mores and watched a movie underneath this like fort tent.
That's cool.
It's dorky.
No, hey, I used to do that as a kid. That was fun.
Yeah, but you don't think about it as an adult, right? No. And so it also has given me the ability somewhat, not nearly where I think one day hopefully I get more, and as we practice this more, I come up with better things. But when we don't do something like that, like I can come up with some fun things to do, like just random that are stupid, and it allows you to kind of flex that muscle.
Yeah.
And do some fun things that even you just come up with, but you use that creativity more, you can do more things, and it makes you feel more just in touch with your friends, or family, your wife, like doing those things that are random, that are just, I don't know, man. It's like it's something fun that disconnects you from everything else. You're more present.
Yeah. Like you said, like life gets monotonous. You're constantly, from a man's point of view, we talked about this in another episode, you're constantly focusing about providing. And in that providing from a monetary standpoint, which, a lot of us have, tend to put a lot of time and effort into, thinking that is the only way to provide for your family, you're wrong, because while you're providing that monetary sense, you're sacrificing a life. You're sacrificing memories, you're sacrificing, things that are going to actually last, that you want your children to experience, and you want to experience with them. And you don't even realize you want to, because it's out of your norm. Like you said, it's out of your comfort zone.
Well, yeah, because I've never had a daughter that's 13 before. I've never been married in this stage of my life before. Like, these are all new things. No matter what, it's always new.
Yeah.
You don't know what to, so, yeah.
It kind of gives you some direction, too. Like, how to be, like, maybe, like, how to be a better father, how to be a better husband. Like, Dad's, like, the one that helped, did those exciting things with us and always had a good idea of what to do. And, it just kind of puts you in a better light because it's true. I mean, you fall into that comfortable rut in your marriage, and you're just day to day, and it's just like you said, eating at the same 3 places all the time, or doing the same things that you think are still fun, but they're just kind of just going through the motions at some point, and adding that sense of, I guess, just, you know, out of that comfort zone adventure really helps things out.
New things, doing new things with your family, with your significant other.
Yeah.
It's a new experience for both of you, and it allows you to have create new memories together.
And the social media thing, like for kids, like I didn't have a cell phone. I think when I was in high school, I had a pager. But I mean, it was a pager. You still had to.
So old.
Shut up. You had to go find a phone. And
quarters so you could.
Yeah, shut up, man. Like, you don't know the struggle. I tell my daughter all the time, like, you know, one day her iPad died, and I was like, oh, you poor thing. And I was just like, you want to know real frustration? Let me get you an Etch-a-Sketch.
Oh, no.
Try to draw something on there, and somebody farts, and the whole thing is just blown away. It's like, come on. You don't know frustration. But it's true. Like, technology and social media, I feel has, even as adults, it you know, watching it for a sense of purpose is one thing, but watching it just...
Not to create a sense of purpose, but trying to, like, hone things in and skills. And
it's, you know, but a lot of times...
I knew what you meant. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah. It's just done in a drone type of sense. You're just staring there, just endlessly, just, you know, scrolling or doing whatever, and kids do it all the time, and it's just so... It's depriving them of a childhood they should be having. Outside of this screen, this box, this whatever, you know, getting out and having fun. Like you said, as a kid, you had to make up games to do.
Yeah.
You had to go outside. Go outside was
fun.
Were
super dangerous.
Like if you had friends over, or you had family over, and their parents came with them, and your mom's like, hey, you guys got to go outside and play. You're like, yes.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, it was the best.
I needed a rope and a stick, and we were swinging across the river for hours.
Anything you could throw or make into a weapon.
Yeah, pretend gun.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And now it's like, let's sit on this box for hours at a time.
Yeah.
Somebody, I'm trying to remember where I heard it, but there was a psychologist talking about this, and he was saying that the reason we have so many young men now that don't seem to have a drive is because that drive that's innately in them is getting pacified by them playing video games. Psychologically they feel like they've accomplished something without doing anything.
Without nothing in return. It's like, I got to level 400. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Well, so when I was a kid, we had a PlayStation 2. That was and it was old at that point, I think. Oh. And the only time I ever touched that thing was when I had like multiple friends over, and we would play competition games, like shooting each other, right?
Yeah.
And even then, after like a half hour, I was like done with it. I was like, we gotta go do something. And then it was like a late night thing, like once the parents went to sleep and you couldn't do anything that was loud anymore or go outside, and they were like, you know, you need to chill out. Then it was like, okay, we're gonna shoot each other on this video game for an hour.
Yeah.
But now, like, some people, it's their whole lives.
Like they live for. You can make a living off of doing it.
Yeah, which is, again, I can see parts of it, but I can't see it being fulfilling.
No, not at all.
And I get that, like, it's this draw, and there's all these different things to it. I can't imagine doing that for your whole life. And like, there's something that, like, going outside and getting out in nature has a huge psychological effect on us.
Yeah,
it makes you feel
in that sunlight.
It makes you feel better. It's shown a ton that the sun is so important. We built a fence a couple weekends ago, and working outside in the sun for 2 days straight, I can't tell you how fantastic I felt.
It was fulfilling.
Not even that though, just being in the sun and soaking up like sunlight for that amount of time. I was like, dude, I feel I feel great.
Yeah.
It was so weird. But then I remember being a kid and being outside and feeling that same thing in the summers when I was out with my friends in the sun all day, doing things. like physical things.
Yeah.
We're like, dude, especially as men, we are like made to do stuff like physical, vigorous activity.
Yeah.
Hike, like do whatever. But if you don't do that, that pent up energy has so much ability to just be terrible.
Oh, it can destroy you.
Yeah.
The relationships you care about. Like that energy has to go somewhere into something.
I mean, I feel like a lot of these kids that get on meds now probably don't even need it. If there's this much, like if I was growing up right now, they for sure would have put me on ADHD medication. I would be on Ritalin so fast. But when I would be out doing stuff, when I wanted to focus on something that I liked, I was perfectly focused, 100%.
Honed in.
Yeah. And when I got into medical stuff, like I did not do good in school. I did not do good sitting in school. I was always the kid that wouldn't focus in class and then could get an A on the test because I had good comprehension. But in school, like I didn't behave well in school. I did fine in school because it was easy. I was able to like look at something and understand, or like piece together stuff, and a lot of it was like context clues. Like the tests were not hard, but it was like sitting in class was the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like the testing wasn't hard, the reading wasn't hard. Sitting and focusing on it was hard because it was just stuff I didn't give a crap about. PE, always super easy. Science, I liked science, so it was always easy. But sitting, focusing was a hard thing until I was doing something with my hands. Science, we got to do cool stuff.
Yeah,
it was like moving around. Those were the things that were good. But like right now, if I was a kid, I had to sit there for hours, they for sure would put me on stuff because I guarantee that I wouldn't have the physical output that I did then. If they gave me a phone, like I would have, to try to pacify me, it wouldn't have worked. And I mean, this is something that we've really strived to do with my daughter. Like her phone, literally, she can only text and call her friends or be on the internet on her phone at all for an hour every day. Like other than that, it has specific contacts that she can contact all the time. Like her grandparents, her aunts, uncles, me, mom. But the people she like should be in contact with. But even then, she's not doing that most of the time because she doesn't need to. So we locked it. We gave her a very limited amount of time because I do understand that the other kids in her classes, in her friend groups, they text each other, they do different things like that. But she has no social media stuff. She has, and she can only be involved with those conversations and not and get like sucked into them because she gets sucked into them for that hour.
Kids haven't changed.
But it shuts off. But it cuts it off. So at least we can limit that.
Yeah.
Where like, okay, well, she's like, yeah. What did she tell me the other day? She said her friends have this group text. She goes, I barely got through all the stuff that I was trying to catch up on the group text before I even got to respond. My phone time shut off. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you.
She should be thanking you.
She will when she's older.
I know.
But right now, like, I get it, 100%. Like, but those are the things where you have to remember, like I have to remember as a parent, it's not about being the cool parent, right? Like, it's funny when you're a kid, you're always wanting to be with you want to be the kid whose parents are cool and blah, 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 his parents let him have parties and do stupid shit. But then as an adult, you're like, those were terrible parents.
Oh, yeah.
And then you look at those kids and they're always just losers.
Jacked up.
But beside that, shutting the phones and the social media and the internet access down, it forces her to she has the ability to talk to people. Like she's more social than most kids. And that's not me like as a dad, like just being proud of her. Like other parents and other people are like, your daughter's so crazy. She like talk to everybody. And I'm like, she's not on her phone all day, every day. Like she has to talk. She has to talk to people.
Yeah, she doesn't have a choice.
She's been forced to do that.
Yeah.
But the adventure thing is part of it too. If we continue to have her do activities, do physical things, have fun, and we build this into her life and build it into our lives, number one, you're healthier. Like, I remember being a kid, I could eat whatever I want. I could do whatever I want. And yes, your metabolism slows down. And yes, as you get older, you have different hormones and things like that.
Yeah.
But part of it, 100%, is that we stop doing stuff.
Yeah.
Like, just going out and walking, going out. I saw some study the other day that was saying that the average American gets less steps than, like, I think it was something like less than 1,000 steps in a day some days.
I got 7.
Or maybe it might have been the average office working American. It could have been.
So
I may be blowing it out.
My watch told me yesterday I had close to 17,000.
When I work at the hospital, and I do, especially if I do a double, I'm like 50,000 some days.
That's crazy.
One day we were just slammed. I think it said I walked something like 10 or 12 miles. I was like, and I haven't gone outside. And then on my lunches, though, I go, and you know what's made me feel fantastic is I go and I walk outside just on my lunch for an hour. But it's something about the dude, like, it clears my head. Even if I have something going in my ears, like a podcast or whatever, it's movement, doing something different, changing the scene. And then I even started walking different ways. And you know, an adventure, walk down some random streets in South Sac, you'll find some adventure. But it's something that's just like, it's just throwing your mind for a loop. Like, I think we get our mind's always trying to find the least effort way to do things, because we have so much of our caloric output is from our brain. We use so many of our calories come from our brain, so our body's always trying. It's a survival thing. It's always trying to figure out ways that it can use less energy. But as those neural pathways get kind of crafted in, if you keep doing the same things over and over again, you're going to keep going back to those things because it's easy. Then you end up just being this zombie. And you know the people that are like that. They just do the same things all the time, every day, and they're not entertaining people. They're not people you want to be around. They never have new ideas because they're not used to it. They're so used to just going through the motions.
They're on autopilot.
Yeah, and you can't have a real life like that.
No, but you got to think about it too. Like, as we grow older, our priorities change. And you know, as a kid, you don't have any responsibility. You're out there having fun, enjoying life. Like you said, the biggest thing was, like, you know, finding something to play outside with your cousins or your friends. You become an adult, you have all these other things that come before what used to be the most important thing in your life, you know, having fun, playing, being adventurous. So now it's an easy pitfall to get into, of just, you know, that cyclical way of living. You know, wake up, go to work, come home, talk to the wife, eat dinner, play with the kids, go to sleep, and it's just this boom. And then on the weekends, what do? You don't want to do anything because you're so damn tired.
Well, you said play with the kids. A lot of people don't even sit and play with the kids.
That's true.
It's you eat dinner, you sit and watch TV for 2 hours, and then go to bed. And
oh my gosh, dude, sorry to interrupt. I absolutely cannot stand this. Like, yes, I hate this. When everybody is sitting down watching TV, like the family, and then there's something on TV, and then everybody's on their phone. So that, like, I would sit there, and I'm not on my phone because I've made a conscious effort when I'm around my, like, girlfriend or whomever, like, you know, that I'm trying to pay attention to. I'm not on my phone because you don't get to spend any quality time with that person. That's not paying attention. Even if you're just sitting there mindlessly watching TV, I could sit back and go, oh, that was funny. But you wouldn't know what I'm talking about because you're sitting there scrolling on your phone while there's something on TV.
You're playing Farmville on
Facebook. I'm just like,
yeah.
What in the heck is going on? Like, there's a TV on, but you got to be looking at your phone too. Like, people are addicted to just, you know, playing on their phone.
Stimulus.
It's not even stimulus. It's just time wasting because they're not being stimulated by anything that they're looking at. You're like, next. Something's on TV. Okay, cool. Next. And then you ask them a question.
Mentally, it stimulates. Like, it's mentally stimulating.
It's my biggest pet peeve
it's terrible.
Ever. Or when I'm trying to have, and I've had this discussion with my girlfriend before, and, you know, we're having dinner or something, and unless the kids call or something, you know, majors to pop up, like, one of the rudest things you can do is to pull out your phone and be on it while you're trying to have one-on-one time with your person. Mm-hmm. Like, put down your phones. Everybody else can wait. What's so damn important that you got to know what your friend from high school, who you haven't talked to in 10 years, is having for dinner.
We tell our daughter before we leave for date night, don't call me unless it's an emergency. And then there's been multiple times where she like something stupid happened, or like she couldn't figure out how to turn something on, and she's called.
Okay.
And she called. She's like, I can't find the remote for this. So when we have our date night, it's the one night a week that she gets to watch one show. Mm-hmm. Other than that, the only stuff that we watch together, we watch stuff together as a family. We'll watch we watch movies together.
Yeah.
And that's like but it's like everything else is put away. Mm-hmm. We're literally laying there or sitting there on the couch as a family, all spending time together. And it like most of it, my girls didn't grow up watching like movies or TV.
Apparently, you didn't either, because
I get to show them. I get to show them stupid like classics, like not Indiana Jones.
You should.
But right now we're going through like the Star Wars stuff. Like they never saw it. So I get to like show them for the first time. Super cool. Like I showed them the Goonies. That was anyway. So
classic. Hey, you guys.
But we.
They used to try to. Side note: they used to try to get me to do the truffle shuffle when I was a fat kid.
I could see that.
Mm-hmm. I did it a few times.
I could see that too.
Kids are mean.
You did it. But like, so she's called us a few times during a date night.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't find the remote for this. And I'm literally like, that's not an emergency. I'll hang up on her. And,
why would you hang up on her?
Because she's interrupting that time. But now.
Don't be rude.
It's in a joking way. You've seen the way me and my daughter joke. We're brutal to each other, but it's a dad-daughter thing. If her mom did that, she would crush her. True. But dad and daughter, we joke, definitely. That's why she can give you so much crap.
She does.
So, because she's got a good sense of humor now.
She does.
Anyway, it showed her like, hey, we're not like on our phones. So guess what? When she's an adult though, and she goes on a date, I guarantee she knows. Like, this person isn't supposed to be on their phone right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if it's not an emergency, this isn't something that you do.
True. And
we'll constantly get off the phone, get off of this, and be present. And that is, me and my wife, we used to be on social media. We used to be on all the things a lot. We haven't done that really as a couple, but I know that she's seen that in the past, and we're trying to rewrite that.
Yeah.
But doing things as a family that's fun, that's new, that's adventurous, doing stuff as a couple that's new, that's fun, that's different.
Yeah.
It brings so much more life into the relationship, and I need to remember it. That's why we're talking about it. That's why we're doing it. That's why we bought the books. Like, you could do it. You can Google fun things to do. Or as you get used to doing more things, you come up with more ideas, right?
Yeah.
Like, it gives you ideas. But it's like, the books for us were like a slap in the face, like a wake up, like, hey, you need to get back to doing stuff. Like, we've done other things. We went axe throwing a couple weeks ago, me and my wife, on a date.
We've done that.
Super fun.
Oh, super fun.
But not something that I would have thought of previously, but I was like looking for different things to do.
We've done it a couple times.
No, it's awesome.
It's fun.
But there's all sorts of things like that out there, right? So it's just important. It breaks those habits and brings so much more life into it. One of the things that I had seen that in John Eldridge's book, he was talking about that we're wired for adventure, and if we don't have one, we start blowing things like problems out of proportion so that we feel like we have an adventure. We feel like we're like overcoming something, and a lot of times it's a negative thing. It's a negative case where you're blowing something that your family did out of proportion, or your wife, or your job, and you're taking things way too serious.
Yeah.
And so because you don't feel like you're doing something of significance, you're not overcoming anything. There's something so just innately satisfying about going on like a long hike or going on a long bike ride or doing something physical, that if you don't do those things, you look for other issues to make you feel like you're accomplishing something.
Yeah. You'll make a problem to solve and be like, I did something.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
And also probably created other problems.
Oh, you probably just wrecked something else. Like, oh, great, now I got something to fix tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like fixing up your bathroom and then walking in there one day with a sledgehammer, breaking everything. Be like, well, I guess I got something else to fix now. Like, you're an idiot.
No, 100%. And I think that we have this desire to do things,
Yeah.
And we just need to remember and find productive things to do as men, because we have so much dumb energy.
Well,
that
idle hands.
if we really channeled it, we could do amazing things. You see this with great people, great men, and people are like, oh, he's so busy. It's like he's putting probably the same amount of energy, effort, mentally out a lot of other people that aren't doing things. He's just putting it into productive things, or things that look like that you feel like you're jealous of that, or you like feel envious that you want to have those things or do those things. We all have the same 24 hours. We have the same amount of energy. That, I mean, in spite of maybe having some metabolic issues and different things like that, right? There's always those things. But most of us have the exact same ability to do all these things. But it's these people are being more intentional about where they're spending their time and their energy.
Yeah. Like I say, idle hands are the devil's playground. And that's the truth. So I would agree. You kind of inspired me to maybe take some action and having some adventure time of my own with family and see what we can come up with.
It puts me in such a better mindset. Me and my wife now, when we have business like talks, and we're talking about the business, we're talking about things, one of the ways that we'll do it a lot is we'll go on a hike and we'll talk about it. And even when I can't show her like the numbers or whatever because I'm not on my phone, we will come to ideas a lot faster and come to agreements better and get on the right page, even if it's something that potentially could be like frustrating to one of us. It always works out better if we're doing something, we're out moving, because we're both just in such a better mindset from the start, just because where we're at, what we're doing.
That's good. It's important, man. You got to move. You got to keep moving.
All right. Well, I think that is definitely one of the savage pieces to this.
I agree.
All right. Well, until next time.
Be a savage.
Be a servant.